Today, a group of congressional leaders celebrated the passage of the recent 2014 Farm Bill. The bill's supporters claim it trims government fat. But some areas of this bill are still expensive, and they're costing you, the taxpayer, dearly. Let's look at some numbers. $2 billion. Even today, that's a lot of money. $2 billion is how much it cost to shut down the federal government back in October. $2 billion is what banking giant HSBC was fined for laundering drug money from one El Chapo's drug cartel. And $2 billion is also about what the United States spends to feed the world's poor. And that includes the cost of one provision in that recent farm bill that we talked about. How is it working? We get you the answers in Washington and on the ground in Kenya as part of our series, The World Unseen. Remember, that's where we take a closer look at the people affected by the news. Take a look.
Oh, this is the coffee.
Kenyan coffee is the best. Irene Gitari is a farmer in Kenya. She struggles to support her 3 children. And she says part of the challenge lies all the way across the world.
The great problems we face is when Americans bring their produces here, their grains, so we are unable to sell our grain and our produce.
This is Kirinyaga. Lush farmlands like these are the key to Africa's economic independence. But farmers here tell me that American taxpayer dollars sent to help often do the opposite. According to USAID, this year alone, the United States is sending about $2 billion in food aid to countries in need. And most of it is spent buying and shipping food from American farmers. But there's bipartisan concern that the food may be hurting some countries more than it's helping.
Dumping commodities often destroys local markets, putting local farmers out of business.
It takes far too long to get food aid to starving people and often harms agricultural markets in the countries we're trying to help.
CARE USA, one of the world's biggest charities, feels strongly about reforming the practice. They gave up an estimated $45 million a year in federal funding because of damage they feel some American food aid programs can do to local farmers. They see a different solution.
Buying local is faster and cheaper. It's a more efficient use of taxpayer dollars, and it ultimately supports our long-term goals in tackling hunger and nutrition, which means that we're giving local farmers a hand up rather than a handout.
Would it help you if other organizations did what CARE did and refused to accept American food to sell on the Kenyan market?
It will help us because Kenyans will eat our produce, and they will be able to carry our produce.
But the American Farm Bureau believes that sending American-grown produce is still a simple but powerful way to help.
Obviously, it takes a lot longer to put food on a ship here and to ship it across the waters than it would to simply send a check. But we also have problems in that when checks are simply sent to foreign governments, we have no way of knowing. And in fact, in many cases, we're pretty sure that that money isn't getting used for food. It's getting used by whomever gets the money for whatever reason that they deem appropriate.
President Obama disagrees with the insistence on sending American food abroad, and last year began a push to modernize the food aid program. USAID Administrator Rajiv Shah has led that fight.
But the reality was, over the last decade, our ability to reach people was basically cut in half. It just represented an outdated system that needed to be modernized.
Shah says the recently passed Farm Bill was a small victory, but that more work needs to be done.
Congress gave us about a third of what the president asked for. We always want to move a little faster and to do the best we can.
Back in Kenya, farmers are still hoping they can have a shot at one of the most basic American principles, giving the underdog a fighting chance.
When we are unable even to bring up the family, to feed them, to educate them, and even to buy clothes for them.
A legislative fight with some very real human stakes, both here and around the world. Early signs of promise. We're going to keep watching that. First, coming up on Ronan Farrow Daily, we are going to have the latest from the White House daily briefing, some breaking news about Afghanistan we're keeping track of, and also the First Lady taking her fight against childhood obesity to another level. It is not going to make some food companies very happy. Plus, he may be the butt of endless late-night jokes, but Toronto Mayor Rob Ford is making no apologies about being caught on tape falling off the wagon. Stay with us.